Hi, this is Gian Morelli for the Columbia Theater, and we are back talking about the Artists in Our Midst series here at the Columbia, live from the Columbia stage during this pandemic time. Today, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about an artist that I just became enthralled with, and everybody has, who'll be performing fairly soon here on the stage. Abriana Church and Enoria Lee. Abriana on piano and Enoria Lee on violin. And we're going to talk about her. We go a little bit further afield than we normally do. They're not from Southwest Washington, but Abriana has performed in concert here since her teens. And we just felt that she has kind of become an adopted daughter of Southwest Washington. So I'm going to bring into the picture now Martin Kauble. And Martin's going to tell us a little bit about his history with Abriana and bringing her here to Longview. Martin?
John? Well, I met Abriana through a recital series that was in Portland, and this was through Classic Pianos, and there was a performance coming up. It was called the Estonia Experience, and the CEO, owner of the Estonia Piano Company, was going to perform a recital there, and he only had enough time to prepare half of a recital, and so he needed somebody else to do the other half. And at Classic Pianos, Fred Riley brought in Abriana Church, and I wound up getting an invitation from them to go to the concert. I didn't know who she was or anyone at that point as far as the Estonia Experience. So I went to Portland, and I happened to be in the showroom where all the grand pianos were before the concert, and I was playing a passage from Chopin's Ballade in G minor, and when all of a sudden from the other side of the room came that passage echoed completely back to me, and I went around the corner to see who was talking to me on the piano, and I turned the corner, and there she was sitting there. I recognized her from the picture, and her dad and I said, "Abriana, that's you?" So that's how we met.
So how did you end up bringing her here to Longview the first time? And how old was she when she first?
16.
16, and where did you bring her?
Yeah, so that was at that concert. I've brought other artists into town in the past, and so I like to do that with young talent. They, a lot of times, get all this repertoire ready for competitions and whatnot. They do their competitions, but then they don't wind up actually having a full performance or recital. So this gives them that opportunity to do so without it being a competition. So I approached her afterward, and she was with her parents, and I said, "Would you like to come to Longview and be a part of the concerts that I present?" So that's how that got started, and we started conversing and put it together, and lo and behold, then she had her first one of 4.
So what you've had 4 concerts. She started at 16. She's now
21, I believe.
She's 21. And has done this. And I will tell you that when we sat in for the taping of her recital, it was breathtaking, and I'm sure everybody's going to see that fairly soon. What she's doing mostly in this one is Liszt meets Paganini between Abriana and Enoria. Give us a little bit of background on that and on some of the pieces that she's doing.
Sure. Niccolo Paganini was a virtuoso violinist, very famous, and he wrote sets of caprices, solo pieces that were terribly difficult, fiendishly difficult. So as a violin virtuoso during the day, he was, or probably was, the only one who could play them. And so here he'd wow the audience and all this with this wild violin playing. There were legends about him. He had long hair, he wore blue little spectacles, and he was very gaunt. And so there was always this conjuring up of the Mephistopheles connection that he sold his soul to the devil in return for these powers. And actually, it was said that he killed a woman, and he imprisoned her soul in his violin, and then he used parts of her intestines as an endless supply of gut for the violin strings, and so this would scare people to death. And so he would amaze these audiences with his wild playing and all these rumors about him. Well, Liszt happened to go to one of the concerts, Franz Liszt, and sat in the audience and said, "I think I could do that for the piano," which he did. And so here came all the stories with him. And so he wrote these fiendishly difficult pieces as well. He did write a set of 6 pieces based on those caprices that were written by Paganini. He transcribed them for the piano. So that's how that came about. And then he, as a virtuoso, he would perform these concerts. He was a real showman. Back then, he would even have a string or two that he would have filed down to where it would be just ready to go, and at a moment's notice, he'd work it up into a frenzy and pow, hit the key and the string would break. Oh, he'd fall backward, and they'd haul him off backstage, and of course the ladies in the audience, oh my, and then he'd be magically revived and come in and finish the concert. But he was a matinee idol, is what he was. So these pieces then that Abriana's performing are based on 6 of those caprices.
Now this was really stunning work when I saw it, and there's Abriana, then there is Enoria, and then it was Enoria's teacher, and he.
That was Abriana's instructor, Ken Mays.
Ken Mays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he accompanied Enoria on a couple of the pieces, and then there was the duo with Abriana and Enoria. That was the Dance of the Goblins, real wild, fiery piece there. Boy,
I'm going to tell you what I saw in that in watching the concert. Now, we were watching it live while it was being recorded, but what I saw was a real chemistry between Abriana and Enoria, and it seemed special to me. I don't know if you would agree.
I agree 100%. There is ensemble that can happen, and it has to do with personalities, of course, and the ability to work together to make it sound, if I were to say, as if it's just one big instrument playing. And they do have this chemistry. I asked them afterwards, too, if they're thinking of maybe continuing with this duo of theirs, and they certainly are. And that's the thing, when you spend time with each other and you have these common characteristics, Enoria at the violin and Abriana at the piano, and there's this musical understanding. It's a language.
And I will tell you that I knew of Abriana's work. I missed a couple of concerts. I never had a chance to see her. So when this came around, when we decided to do this Artist in Our Midst concert, I thought, I did think long and hard. I know that she's from Idaho. I know she is easily steer a horse and an ATV as a piano keyboard, but I thought that she fell into this series because of, I think, the nurturing that you gave her, because to be able to do a concert program at 16 years old in any setting, and especially then in St. Stephen's Church, which is got a very, very robust music program that they do throughout the year. And to have her do that, also said to me, I really wanted her on our stage. So the last time she performed was this last January, wasn't it?
Yep.
Wasn't it January 5th?
I cannot remember
the exact date. It was the 5th because I had it in my calendar and was ill and could not make that concert. And I think I sent you a note and said I was just, deeply disappointed I couldn't. But I didn't. But then the opportunity to bring her onto our stage and to listen to her in this setting, in this theater, with that 9-foot concert grand, and to listen to the way, there were times when you're watching her, you will see that you can barely distinguish her fingering. Her fingers are just a blur of that, and that was just thrilling for me to watch, and then to watch the two of them together. So the St. Stephen's concerts really were the beginning of our kind of saying, well, we'll adopt her, so we'll do that. Because she's had a lot of formulative work in concert work right here in Longview.
Yeah, well, St. Stephen's was marvelous, and just getting it scheduled and being able to present Abriana, and certainly there were some others that were done in the past, but with Aubrey, right. The first performance, of course, people didn't know who she was, and so doing all the publicity was through the papers and my personal mailing lists. Of course, I post on Facebook, that kind of thing, and really we didn't know what was going to happen the first time. Who was this? And all of a sudden, but people know that I've brought other people in here in the past, so it might turn out to be pretty good. So anyway. Surprisingly, though, and happily so, the place was pretty packed. And then she gave her first performance here. The first piece that, when she performed it, I was standing at the rear, and people were turning their heads just, I don't think they were ready for that. And complete standing ovation, and so it kind of started to build a nice audience that when she's coming back, when is she coming back, and that sort of thing. So it became a team thing. Yeah.
So now we'll have her on, recorded and on our webpage and Facebook and YouTube channel for the Columbia Theater. Later on, people can go to the theater's website, columbiatheater.com. Click on Artists in Our Midst, which is there, and you'll see the whole schedule of all of the artists that are there, that are performing. And you can find out when Abriana is when this piece is going to be released. It's been recorded. We're doing a little bit of editing. We did not to the quality of the work, but sometimes you have to cut out a little section in between pieces just to keep it smooth and continuous. But it really was a breathtaking concert.
And these are two separate, distinct recitals that'll be performed that they did. One will be on the 5th, correct? And another on the 19th, is that right?
Yes.
So,
yes, December 5th. You're right. It's December 5th and December 19th. Yeah. Thank you. I couldn't remember the dates. But
these two just, to come in here and the Columbia Theater too, so generously flying them in here, and here in the 4 hours they were here, recorded 2 full distinct recitals of all these pieces. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it lends us a whole different, so we've now, I really wanted to expand this, and she was almost the first person that came to mind. When I thought of doing this Artist in Our Midst concert, I said, I just really want her on our stage. And I would hope, I'm not going to be a part of that in the future, but I would hope at some point when we are able to open up this place again and do live concerts, that she might be able to come, because anyone who had sat in that audience or sat in the seats in this theater socially distanced last week when we recorded would be just have their breath taken away.
Oh, it would be fabulous. She's just a gem. Enoria Lee, also a gem. Such humble ladies with so much talent, but it's like anything. You could be a really good basketball player, but unless you dribble the ball and put it through the hoop, you're not going to score a point.
And if you're doing it at night in a park, nobody knows that you're that good. Martin, I want to thank you so much for taking time to come in.
Thank you.
Give us a little preview on the work and about the work that you did with Abriana and then her partner now, Enoria. And we'll look forward to seeing that concert online.
I can't wait.
Fairly soon.
I'll tune in.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Thank you.